well deserved, and you will be the future leaders and representatives of the United States. So I get in the car in Westfield, and every third road is closed, you know, and I'm figuring I got in here by 7 o'clock. I walk in here, and I feel like the sun is shining. I don't know what it was, but the minute I walked in there, weather had no effect on Roselle Park. Everyone was smiling, happy. Everyone made it here. God bless Roselle Park, man. Rain, snow, shine. I'm gonna get some orange grass down in Trent. I'm gonna bring some of that down there. Let me just start off before I turn the microphone over to Assemblyman Munoz. The most important thing that we do is really react to constituent services, meaning if you need help and you call us, it almost doesn't matter what the problem is. Why? Because when I, as an assemblyman or minority leader, pick up the phone and call a cable company or an electrical company, even the airlines, they'll return my call. So keep in mind, I know when you have a problem, you're always thinking, should I call a lawyer? Should I call a family member? I told my mom years ago, call your elected representative, mayor, council, mayor, always mayor, everybody returns the mayor's call, assembly person, senator, that's number one. Number two, we also do internships. So if you want to travel down to Trent and see how government works, or you want to come to a law office or a legislative office and see how that works, we're also available to give you that kind of help. And there are also employment issues. Somebody has a problem in employment, you'd be shocked at how many apprentice programs there are where leaders in the unions and in industry come to us and give us information about potential employment. So first and foremost, we're there to help individuals. The bigger policy, taxes, trains being on time, that's a little harder. And with respect to infrastructure and trying to get the trains to get there and a platform and a train station, that takes a little more time, but solving your individual problems, that's our main focus. So keep in mind that, and we're easy to find, whether John Bramnick, Nancy Munoz, or State Senator Tom Kane, we're just a phone call away. So let me turn this over to Assemblywoman and my friend Nancy Munoz, and then I'll just sum up and tell you a little bit about Trent, and we'll get out of the hair and get out of the way and let you get started.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be back in Roselle Park. As Mayor Diorio knows, we have a long history of the Munozes coming to Roselle Park, and we're glad to see the young girls here today and young gentlemen here today. And it was you who got all these people out in this horrible weather, so congratulations, and congratulations for your success. You know, John is going to speak to you about what's going on in Trenton, and I just want to reiterate what John just said about that we're here to represent you down in Trenton and to make sure that we try to make your life a little bit easier. As John just said, you know, we're working on the bigger issues, New Jersey Transit, the affordable housing issues, and I'm on the budget committee, the overall budget, but it's those little things that we can do for you. My office is in Summit, John's in Westfield, so we represent both sides of the ridge. We represent all the way out to Far Hills and Kenilworth and Roselle Park and Garwood and 16 towns. So we all have a staff. We're open Monday through Friday. You can call us if there's ever any issues. I'm going to let John go ahead and tell us what's going on in Trenton. It's a really interesting time in Trenton, probably more interesting than usual.
Let me start out what I think is the most important issue facing government, treating each other with respect. I am deeply concerned with what's happened in American politics. The fact that we cannot talk to each other civilly, or we have to call people names, and I've seen it down in Washington, I've spoken out against it. My number one issue is if you're a leader or you're in government, whether you're the President of the United States or you're a council person, you treat people with respect. This country is based on the fact that we argue, we discuss, but we don't attack each other. That's been my number one issue since I've been in Trenton. Civility and respect for each other. And I will call it out wherever I see it, and I will continue to do that regardless of the political risks. It is the number one issue. We must talk to each other, treat each other with respect, show dignity. And we do that, we teach our kids that. We need to teach some adults that. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't really care which side of the aisle I'm on. If I see it, I'm gonna call it out. And that's absolutely number one, most important thing. When I first got in Trenton in 2003, I put a resolution up. It was called the Civility Resolution, 2003. And this said that we should treat each other better. I was laughed out of Trenton. They're not laughing anymore. It took me 9 years in Trenton to get a resolution passed that simply said you should be nicer to each other and treat each other with respect. In my judgment, I might make it a law now. I make it a law with penalties. So I'm hoping the voters of this country stand together and say one thing. Regardless of your political affiliation, your position on any issue, you treat people with respect. That's number one. With respect to New Jersey, this is an incredible state. We got a lot of people. It's a dense population. That means we're gonna have traffic. So never use the excuse why you're late. I hit traffic. That is an illegal excuse in New Jersey. But we are gonna be there continuing to let people know it's a great place to live. We got attitude. When I say attitude, we have the energy. Sometimes I call this the heartbeat of America. You're never bored in New Jersey, never. Because you know there's always gonna be somebody who's gonna be interesting that you meet the next day. And I'm gonna continue to work as hard as I can to make it a good experience and a better experience in New Jersey. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm deeply appreciative. I'm happy to answer questions as long as they're easy. I went to Plainfield High School. I wasn't too good at math, so I won't do any math questions. I didn't even get into trigonometry. I failed algebra. I didn't fail algebra, I got a C. My mother said that was a failing grade back then. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I want to thank you, Assembly folk, for being here. It means a lot. I guess neither questions are easy. So,
Sorry.
One thing that's top of mind as a new mayor, you said it yourself coming down NJ 28. I think it was my fantasy before I got here to see our part of NJ 28 become a one-lane highway. Don't think it's happening anytime soon, but as you drive down NJ 28, there's a distinct difference about the economic activity on Westfield Ave, as we call it, versus whatever it's North Ave in Westfield. I'm wondering if there's been any thought in Trenton about sort of the economic impact that state highways have had on small towns like Roselle Park, because you've been around for a while, you've seen Roselle Park's downtown for a while. I would attribute a great bit of that to the fact that we've got people driving 45 miles per hour is not a speed limit on Westfield Ave by us, it's a minimum speed. And I think it's done a great detriment to what we consider our downtown. I wonder if there's been any thinking in Trenton about sort of looking to financially support or do any economic activities around some of the smaller municipalities like Roselle Park, partially impacted by these changes.
Well, my commitment to you is, and I did this, and I'm gonna get to that answer real quickly, but a couple years ago, a couple mayors came to me and said, we want a one-seat ride to New York.
That's the next topic.
Okay. I took a ride. We went down and saw the commissioner, myself, Senator Kane, and Senator Munoz. We walked in, he said, you got the one-seat ride. And of course, it was taken away recently because of some issues involving NJ Transit. Now, I'm saying the same thing to you. We're gonna get in the car, we're gonna go down to see the Commissioner of Transportation, myself, Senator Kane, Senator Munoz, council people, and I can tell you, the squeaky wheel works. That's why we're gonna work together. We'll go down there, we'll come back with a plan, and we will, the way I look at it, we get it done.
Okay. Thank you for the ride.
And you driving, Lisa?
Yeah, I got you.
Good, okay. All right, we'll do that. We'll come back and report how our meeting went with the Department of Transportation as the minority leader in the House. I will make sure it gets done.
Great. The next one, it's less of a question, just more of something that, a little background about what got me started going in politics was the Gateway Tunnel. I just want to say full-throatedly, I think sort of the position that you've had in prior years, I've got a quote here, As it is, New Jersey and send far more tax dollars to Washington than we receive back from our nation's capital. This report does not reflect all the costs that New Jersey would be responsible for. We're still sending a bunch of money to Washington, and we're not getting much back in the way of the Gateway Tunnel. I don't know if you recollect back to 2012 when we got that, when we had that quote. Right around 2020 is when we could potentially have 2 new tunnels going from Roselle Park to Manhattan. I just want to make more of a comment that we need 2 new tunnels. And every day, whether it's from emotional frustration, economic frustration, we feel it here in Roselle Park. And Roselle Park is not satisfied with the performance of NJ Transit, which is more in the state control, but we're not satisfied with the lack of funding that we've seen to get 2 new desperately needed tunnels to New York City. So full-throated, I want to speak on behalf of Roselle Park. All those calls that the mayor gets, a good 50% of them are about NJ Transit and getting to New York, and that has a real economic impact here at home, and we need to see some movement here.
I agree with 100%, Mayor, and there has been failures on both sides of the aisle on this. I can tell you that funding for New Jersey Transit, we've had Republican governors, we've had Democratic-controlled legislature. Never has both sides come together and agreed on what the funding is necessary for New Jersey Transit. I think they've realized, and it took a crisis in New Jersey Transit, a crisis where the trains weren't coming, to bring everybody together. And as you can see now, this budget has more money for New Jersey Transit than ever in the past. With respect to the Gateway tunnels, clearly Washington is dysfunctional to some degree, but it's a crisis. If one of those tunnels closes, we're out of business. And how is this affected real estate? We all know it's a significant effect on real estate. So that's why I talk about working together, because anybody can point the finger at either side over the last 25 years. Things don't get deteriorated because one side or the other wants them to get deteriorated. It's failure of both parties to get together and solve it. So when we go to Trenton, we'll sit down with both sides, and I'll be happy to go over the history if you want. My commitment is 100% to support what we all need is a infrastructure infusement of money.
Respectfully, one side came back out of the deal and did, but I'm forward looking.
Well, okay, if you want to make it political, I'll go there. You said if you want to go there, I'm from Jersey too, as we said. You want to talk about that? I'll talk about it. 17 years the Democrats have controlled the state legislature. They ran out of money in the TTF, ran out of money, did nothing at all to support infrastructure in the state. You're doing, and let's call it the way it is. And you're saying because Chris Christie made a determination. Yeah. Clearly, there was limited funding for 17 years for New Jersey Transit at the Democrats. Chris Christie, his decision to pull out of the tunnel, not everyone agreed with that. That's why I'm trying to say, if you want to go back and forth, we could be here all night. That's the worst thing that can happen in this country, is say, they did it, I did it, you did it. I'm telling you right now, I'm happy to say, you come down there, we'll talk to both sides, and we'll get it done.
We usually are here all night, so, but for the sake of getting
I'm not going anywhere, baby. Everything's flooded. I'll be right here.
That was it. Council people, any questions while the assembly folk are here?
Yes, if I could just stay on the topic of New Jersey Transit. As you know, New Jersey Transit dedicated funds for Roselle Park's train station platform. When they found that there were some structural problems, they had to go out and rebid. Through the efforts of people like Senator Tom Kean and yourselves, we were able to not only get that project back on track with more dollars, but to include an ADA accessible elevator at that station. My concern is, I know the mayor wrote a letter to the executive director. Councilman Fahori and I went to a public meeting of the executive board of the New Jersey Transit. Finally getting someone here from New Jersey Transit to present themselves. And my concern today is the project is about 4 years off. We won't see that project completed within the next 4 years. My concern is from today, 4 years from now, that money be reserved so it can't be touched for another pet project in another town. We've brought it up at the meeting. I brought up the question of, is there a reserve that can hold our money in place? We also talked about a list of issues that we had, and the representative from Transit was very cordial and took down those notes. But deeply concerned, I know this total governing body, mayor and council together, regardless of party, we're concerned that that money is going to be stolen away to another town, and then Rosa Park gets left in the back.
We will make it a high priority. That's a commitment. We'll make it a high priority, and we'll meet in Trenton to make sure we get that done as well.
We'll send you the list, mayor will send him all the information that we have,
Absolutely.
and if you can make that. Good, excellent.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it,
Good.
and everybody get home safe.